You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Pratik Shah, co-founder of Shah and Digidio and CEO of EsquireTek. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate having you. How are things going out there in Southern California? Like, are you guys masked up again? And I know I think LA is like kind of a hot spot, right?
Yeah, LA's like back to where they started, but I'm in San Diego so far. Yeah, right. No mask mandate, no indoor requirements or anything like that. Once we went to work from home, I never really went back. I just kind of see this as a future. I told Arthur, my business partner, Digidio. Yep. I told him, I said, look, you ever seen that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where Leonardo DiCaprio is talking to his team and he's saying, if they want to get me out of here, they're going to have to call the National Guard. That's like getting me out of my home office. You
love it, huh? You like being there, man. It's efficient.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. I mean, my commute, from my bedroom to the office, it's 7 steps. And the only traffic is maybe. Yeah.
Do you ever have any traffic? Like maybe somebody meets you in the hallway and you can't.
I mean, maybe a naked 5-year-old, my son running around. That's about it.
There you go.
So,
all right.
That you just can't beat that,
No, I mean, I definitely understand that. Like on a personal note, when we sort of were working from home a little bit, I got to have breakfast with my son like every morning.
Right.
And it was awesome. He grew it. Like I was showing him Grateful Dead shows on YouTube, and he like loves the Dead now. So it definitely has its advantages. So it's kind of heated up again, the pandemic. Good to know that you're working from home. What do you think of? Have you been doing like hearings and stuff on Zoom? How is that going for you?
Yeah, I've done everything by Zoom, depots, hearings, mediations. Things have been going smooth. I mean, I don't see a reason to go back. Now, obviously, if the court requires it, what are you going to do? You got to show up. But for the most part, most courts that I've talked to have been wanting to adopt teams. I think there's some sense of, hey, we spent so much time and money getting this up and running. Let's keep it going. And I think really for the clients, it's better. I mean, I'm contingency, but for those that bill on an hourly basis, really what is best for the clients is to save that time.
And it's got to be more efficient, I mean, how do you bill a client? I mean, you bill a client for sitting in court maybe for 3 hours, but how do you do it if you're waiting like, on a Zoom call, like when you could be doing other work and maybe double dipping? I don't know, like maybe that becomes an issue or an ethical issue in the legal practice.
Yeah. I mean, we don't do hourly, so I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Obviously my friends that do hourly, they definitely got to think about that on what's fair to their client. And, on the short term, I think people worry about, hey, I've got billable requirements, I got to meet them. But I think in the long term, when we take a long form view of this, of the legal profession, at the end of the day, we just have to do what's best for our clients. And if we can be more efficient and bill less and maybe take on more clients and serve more people, that's better for the profession as a whole. Maybe it improves our reputation in the community as, okay, these lawyers aren't so bad.
Yeah. 100%. And I think some people maybe don't want to admit like how much more efficient it is than driving to court and like doing all, because they have to be doing that. But I agree with you. So tell us, you grew up in Artesia. Is that how I say it?
Yeah, actually very close. I split my time. I was born in LA and was in around Koreatown until about 4th grade. Moved to Norwalk, which is about one small stone's throw away from Artesia. But after I graduated law school and went to the DA's office and started my own firm, I started it in Artesia because there's a pretty large Indian community there.
Right. Okay. Oh, pretty large. What community? Sorry.
Indian community.
Oh, really cool. Okay.
Because I'm Indian, so I'm like, I'm going to go back and kind of, be there. And And it was good. I liked Artesia. I still have a lot of love for Artesia and I enjoyed being there. But, you know, the wife and I started talking of where do we really want to spend the next 30, 40, 50 years. And San Diego's at the top of that list. So we found our way back down here.
Okay. All right. Very nice place. I've been out there once in
Anytime.
2018. We unfortunately hit the, I guess when we get out there, they're like, hey, did you hear about there's a May gray and June bloom? I'm like, no, but I'm glad we know that now that we're out here. But it was beautiful. Very nice. Okay. So you were out there. And then what was your first job? You went to Thomas Jefferson Law, right? What was your first, were you what was your first job at a law school? And what was that like?
Out of law school, I started at the Sacramento District Attorney's Office.
Okay, the DA,
which was awesome. I went to law school to be a DA, and that's what I interned at the DA's office down here in San Diego. Okay. I did mock trial. That's where I wanted to go with being a lawyer, and I got my job at the Sacramento DA's office. Right. I was on, as soon as I passed the bar, got sworn in, I was on the misdemeanor trial team, and so I was like, this is what I wanted to do. This is why I went to school, and this is great. And about 6 months, 7 months in, I start realizing there's a lot more to being a DA than what I see on Law and Order. Okay. It's not, maybe it's not what I want. And I'm sure, you know, I think that happens probably to a lot of lawyers is there's a idea of what the profession is. And then you get into it and you're like, hey, the politics here, or the things that you got to kind of compromise on some things. And, you know, it wasn't a right fit for me. So I always wanted to start my own shop. It's just something I've always wanted to do. And so I said, you know what, let me just go give that a shot. I left the DA's office, and no knock on the people there. I'm still friends with the people that I used to work with back then. Sure. And so, you know, no knock on them, but I just found that it wasn't for me, left and started my own shop. And
that was like your second job. That was your second.
That was it.
It was wow. Okay.
I was about 7 months in as a lawyer and said, I'm just going to try it.
Wow. And so, by the way, I just want to throw out there, we did feature you on the Lawyer Stories feed, lawyer_stories, back December 14th, 2020. So you did discuss working at Sacramento County DA office, and you know what we wanted to talk about, like your first job. So like going back to law school, Thomas Jefferson, I believe, and like what was your least favorite and least thing about law school?
My least favorite
and favorite.
Okay, probably my favorite would be by far being on the mock trial team.
Okay.
I learned more being on that team with the teammates that I had and the coach that I had than I did in probably any other law school class or any other you know, anything else I did in law school. Even more than interning, I probably learned more there about how to litigate a case and how to present a case to the people that matter, which in my opinion are the jury. At the end of the day, that's all we got. And so, you know, I'm very grateful for Coach Jane Siegel. I'm gonna give her a shout out. She's amazing, and learned a lot from her. My teammates were awesome. Least favorite. I generally liked law school. I had my good group of friends, but that's good. Yeah, if I had to pick a least favorite, I'd say remedies class.
Remedies, okay.
Oh, I hated that class. That was probably the one class where I'm like, this is the most ridiculous class ever. But other than that, I generally liked it. I had a decent time.
That's good. That's good. See, I could tell you, I get that, like, I like law school vibe from you, which is good. Like, I think that's good. I think a lot of people.
I was no nerd though. I'm just gonna put that.
What's that now?
I said I was no nerd and no gunner.
No, I don't think so. I just think, you know, people who had like issues with law school are real, like some of them tend to be like, and I'm not talking about this show. I'm just talking about in general, like they get really bitter and they make scathing remarks about what, maybe I'm talking about myself. I don't know. But okay, that's great. So what was like the transition? What was the transition like when you went from being at the DA and then you went back and to Southern California?
Yeah, Artesia. It was Artesia, but yeah.
Yeah. So like, how do you, like, what was that like? I mean, like you were going into a new practice, personal injury, like how did you learn how to do all that stuff?
Yeah, it was tricky. So I started off I had a friend that I had partnered with in the beginning. It didn't work out. And that's all fine and well, but he did personal injury and I kind of naturally did criminal defense because coming from the DA's office, that's what makes the most sense. Started doing some criminal defense and I kind of generally took what I could get to pay the bills. And after that, after a year of kind of trying to figure that out, didn't work out with him. And, just struggling really the first couple of years of when you start a practice is just struggling. I have a very patient wife, which I'm grateful for. And then I said, you know what, I want to try it again. I'm going to start my own, did some criminal defense, started taking some personal injury that I had learned from the gentleman that I had partnered with. And then really learned a lot from organizations like CALA, the CALA listserv, going to the CLEs. The one thing I will say about the plaintiff community, the plaintiff lawyer community, is they're very, very open about information and giving advice and working on cases together. And I learned a lot from a lot of attorneys. And if you don't mind, I'll shout them out. But
please, go ahead.
Yeah,
that was, in Southern, and that's the LA area, like Southern California.
Yeah. So CALA is Consumer Attorneys Association of Los Angeles. And they have this phenomenal listserv that has like 2,500 or 3,000 lawyers on there where people ask these great questions. And you get these amazing trial lawyers that just give this knowledge. And you just learn a lot. And they've got a document bank and they've got the Advocate magazine. And, it's a nonprofit organization that just is there for the legal community. I learned a lot from them.
And that's called CALA, you said?
CALA, yeah, CAALA.
Okay.
And then, lawyers like Bob Simon would send me, I don't know if you know Bob, but
he would. He's we've featured him before. Seems like an awesome guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah, known him. I mean, he met me when I was just starting out, and that was like 9 years ago now, I think. And sent me a lot of documents that gave me an idea of what I should be doing and looking for. A lot of free advice. Another friend of mine, Frank Perez in LA, who I consider like my mentor. I learned a lot from him. So really, it was just a lot of being, a learner. And my nighttime reading used to be the practice guide. I would just take the practice guide and read 15 pages a day, 20 pages a day, whatever I could read to learn how to do it right and make sure my clients are represented properly.
That's great. And, based on some of the attorneys from LA that I featured on Lawyer Stories that we help share their stories, they all seem really cool. Like I would love to go to LA and just like have a networking event with like everybody, because everybody seems really cool. And that's awesome. I'm really glad that happened for you. Like meeting somebody who can help, like a Bob Simon, and like they, it's just it's so important.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, no man is an island, right? Man or woman, like you need a community around you to help you. Building a law firm, representing clients, it just like raising children, like takes a village, because the profession of being a lawyer isn't easy. It's a conflict profession, right? You have conflicts with the judge, you have conflicts with the law, you have conflicts with opposing counsel. Sometimes you have conflicts with your client. And so there has to be some kind of support system. And either that, if you're working at a firm, you've got a support system in what your firm is. But if you're not working at a firm and you're on your own, you need lawyers in the community to help you out. I mean, kudos to the people that can just, hey, I'm doing it all on my own and I don't need any help. I was happy to have the help.
So like, what made you want to be a solo? What was the driving force?
Like I said, I was a DA up there, and because that was what I wanted to do and why I went to law school. And once I realized that it wasn't for me and I just wasn't going to do this for the next 30 years, I sat and thought, well, okay, if I'm not going to do this, what do I want to do? And I was always that kid that tried to create a business from nothing, right? I used to mow my neighbor's lawns for $5. And actually, I didn't know how to mow lawns. So I would be the one that knocked on doors and got them to agree. And then I'd pay the neighbor's kid to mow the lawns and keep the difference.
Nice.
And I, like other kids, I sold candy at school and used to burn CDs and sell those mixtapes, right? Back then you used to get in trouble for it. Now they say, what an entrepreneur, right?
Right. Burning CDs was huge. I love that.
It was huge with Napster and everything, right? It was great.
When I got my car, no longer has a CD player. I was like a little disappointed in that, to be honest. Right. Because I have like a bunch of like 80s mixes and just anyway. So you were like the entrepreneur. So you thought about it yourself and you're like, if I'm not going to be doing this for the next 30, 40 years.
Yeah, let me just do this. And I looked around, what does it take what's the barrier to entry? Because the barrier to entry 25 years ago was you had to have a fancy office. You had to have a nice big bookcase with all these books. And the barrier to entry was several $100,000 to start a firm. And today that barrier to entry doesn't exist.
Right.
It's just, do all the hard work yourself with no staff. But really, you can do everything from your laptop that you used in law school and your cell phone.
That's true. And actually, I did want to give a shout out to one of your associates, Irving Pedroza.
Yeah, he's great. We love Irving.
We actually featured him January 28th. So I thought I'd throw it out there to him. And
that's awesome. He's a great guy.
Seems like a great guy. Yeah. So really cool. So like what kind of cases are you looking to take at your firm now? Like what are you focusing on?
Yeah, we mainly handle personal injury. I'd say about 80% of our practice is just general personal injury, car accidents, slip and falls, things like that. About 15% of our practice is bad faith insurance. So we have a division of our firm called the Fire and Flood Attorneys. And what that does, we represent homeowners and business owners when they suffer water or fire damage against their insurance company, because their insurance company, even though it's their insurance company that they've been paying premiums on, still they don't pay what they're supposed to pay. And then the last 5%, we take a few civil rights cases here and there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that many, and we don't make a lot of money on them, but they're fun to do.
Yeah,
and
I think
they're righteous.
I think that's cool because I feel like a lot of like law students or prospective law students go and attend law school thinking they're going to do civil rights and like constitutional law, be arguing like the 14th Amendment in front of like these huge pillars and like 25 justices, but it doesn't really like shake out that way all the time.
Right.
So I think that's cool that you do those things.
Yeah, and we only did it. We started doing it recently. We have an of counsel who does that's all he does exclusively. So we work with him on the cases to make sure, they're handled the right way, because that's definitely his area of expertise. But when it comes to trying them, I'll jump in with them or take some depots with them, because they're fun cases. They're righteous cases. And, not a lot of people take them because there's not a ton of money in them.
Wow. Yeah, no, totally. Okay. So I want to move on now to something that, you're the CEO, right? Of EsquireTek. So we see this nice EsquireTek logo in the background there. And we did a video on actually on the Lawyer Stories Instagram feed that was, I think, either right before we featured you or right after. So the video would have to be around like 12/13 or 12/15, 2020. If whoever's listening wants to scroll back. So tell us how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was a solo, I did everything by hand, right? I had no paralegal, no receptionist, nothing. I'd be up till 11, 12 at night working on discovery because I had nobody else to do it. And of course, that's a nightmare. You can't do that for 30 years. And the next obvious step was I need to hire somebody. Then I hired somebody, making payroll, making sure they did the work. Mm-hmm. Then what you realize is my paralegals are smart. My law clerks are smart. They shouldn't be spending time copying and pasting questions from PDF to Word, which is what you would spend 2.5 hours doing to answer discovery. Before you even start responding to discovery, to create the Word document, you're spending like 2 hours to get it ready.
Did you say from PDF to Word?
Right, because you can't convert it because in California, it's on pleading paper.
Okay.
And if you try to convert it through Adobe, the whole thing just messes up.
Okay.
And so you end up spending, even more time fixing the formatting, doing all that. So instead, the way most people do it is they OCR the document, they OCR the PDF, and then they have to copy and paste each question over to a Word document to respond to it. Then you have to input your objections, get your client responses, go through all that, which getting through discovery can take, 10 to 20 to 30 hours. And weeks, right? Because you can't just stop everything else to work on discovery.
Right.
And I even ran some surveys before we launched, because what I wanted to know is, am I the only one that's inefficient, or is this just an inefficient process?
Yeah, you did like market research and saw or not market research, but you did like like a study group sort of thing, right?
Exactly. I just sent out a survey to 100 paralegals and lawyers.
So smart.
And thank you. And they said that the thing that they spend the most time on, 70% of lawyers and paralegals said the thing that they spend the most time on in civil litigation is discovery.
Was anybody like, come on, man, like, we like those hours, like, you're going to take it all away from us?
I mean, most of them were contingency,
Okay.
I mean,
They
didn't know, and they didn't know what I was asking about. I was just asking a question of what do you spend most of your time on? And it was like over 70% say written discovery. So I knew this was a problem. This was definitely inefficient process. I asked, and one of the other questions we asked is, how long does it take to create those shells? And over 45% say 1 to 2 hours. So this is just a slow process.
Wow.
So then I started asking around, well, how can there's got to be a better way, right? Like, this can't just be the way that we're going to do this forever. That makes no sense. And I started talking to some computer guys and talked to my marketing team of, do you guys know anybody? Started asking around, tried a couple companies to build out something, never really worked out. Then I got introduced to who's now my co-founder, CTO and co-founder of EsquireTek, Dr. Slim Sweezy. And what he presented to me and saying, here's the way I would do it if this is your goal.
Okay.
And it was like the heavens opened up.
Really?
Like, that is what I'm talking about. I was like, can you really build that?
So you had an idea, and talking to Dr.
Slim. Yeah.
He was kind of like, this is what you need to do to get there. And you were just like, wow, that's kind of like what I was trying to do, sort of thing.
Yeah. So basically I was in a WeWork with him, because we were in a WeWork office. He's in a WeWork office. And so I was in a conference room with him, showing him the documents that need to be converted and how they need to be converted and how the process works, explaining to him the litigation process, how it works, right? Of course, to a non-lawyer, they go, you guys are insane that you're doing it this way. Why don't we just do this, and this? Yes, that's what I want to do. He's like, I can build that. Like, it was nothing. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if you can build it, let's do it. And it took, it took about a year to get it right. Right. Because he would build it with the engineers and I would see it and say, no, that's not really how it works. It's got to work this way. Let's add this. Let's add the text message. Let's do this and that feature. And we got to make sure we're compliant, HIPAA compliant and all these things. And so we'd go back and forth. And then the pandemic hit.
Right.
As we were building this thing, the pandemic hit. And it was kind of, okay, all of our meetings that were in the WeWork or that were in person with the engineers, now what do we do? And we started doing Zoom, started figuring stuff out. The pandemic was a bad thing. I want to caveat this. The one slight silver lining was was that because everything moved to digital, litigation took a halt. There was time to then dedicate to make sure this could launch and that this was done the right way. Right. If we were going to launch it, that we were going to launch it properly and that it was something that was going to work.
Right.
And so that was like I said, the one silver lining I would give it. And then we were able to launch it on December 2nd of 2020.
Okay.
And the response was awesome. You never know, right? When you're going to put yourself out there with something like a new company or a new tech thing, you never know how people are going to respond to it. Are people going to say, hey, this is dumb, I don't need this. Here's the way I do it. That's way easier. You hope that's not the response. And so the response was awesome.
So how'd you go about like launching it? Because actually that kind of coincides with the date that we featured you. And that was like 10, 12 days later. So that's pretty interesting. So
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. How did you go about really like launching it? And is it up to like full speed now, like where you want it to be, or is it something that's always evolving?
It's always going to evolve. We release new features almost monthly.
Okay.
We get user feedback. We listen to what our clients and users tell us and say, hey, it'd be really nice if you had this. And based on the feedback we're getting, based on kind of where we're at in the litigation process on the discovery side and what we want to get to, we can keep adding things. We have new features coming out next month. I think we're going to add some compatibility with other states like Florida.
Wow.
And Texas should be launching next month. Tennessee should be launching next month. So those kinds of things, we're going to keep growing. But to backtrack to the process, we launched December 2nd, going back about 60 days. I launched to just kind of some friends of mine, beta testers, asked who wants to use it. It's not going to be perfect, but please try it. They tried it, got some great feedback. I'm really, really grateful for those early users that, were able to use it and give me great feedback, because we were able to make iterations that when we did eventually launch on December 2nd to the public, we actually first launched privately to JHQ. Okay. So if you're familiar with Justice HQ, Bob Simon's company.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a member. And so as kind of a member benefit and me giving back to the community, I said, you know what, we're going to launch to you guys free for 30 days. Let's see that if this is a benefit to you guys and if you guys like it. And that's how I could give back to that community. And it was great. And people were like, hey, maybe you could add this, maybe you could add that. And those were great ideas. And they were like, this didn't work right, or this is working right. Great. We can fix it. All of it's great. And then we were ready. We knew we were ready when the feedback we were getting was overwhelmingly positive. People were telling us they're saving hours and hours. We're ready. And then we launched, and it's been great. It's grown quickly. We're up to 600 law firms that have signed up and using it. Yeah. So it's really been exciting at the growth and the feedback we're getting. The lawyers, the way they're finding us, a lot of it's been word of mouth, things like this, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited for the future.
So is it like a monthly subscription type of thing?
Yeah, we have a couple of ways to pay. So we have a monthly subscription. It's $300 a month for your law firm. So we don't charge per user, right? I know a lot of tech companies like to do this per user per month. As a law firm owner myself, that drove me crazy, because every time I would hire somebody, I would have to create a new user, or if somebody left, I would have to delete them and make sure I wasn't being billed. So we just flat fee per month, $300 a month, flat fee. You can run as much discovery as you want through the system, unlimited users, whether you've got a 10-person firm or a 100-person firm. We also have the yearly subscription. So you can pay up front for the year and you get about 2 months free.
Okay.
And then we also have an option for kind of smaller and solo attorneys.
That's good.
As a former solo, my heart is still with them. We have a pay-as-you-go option. So you just pay for what you use.
So if you have like a big case that you actually need it, like you could just use it.
Yeah.
You might have like a username and login that's like free. And then if you need it, you could use, okay, that's awesome.
Exactly right. You go sign up for free, no credit card required to sign up. And then put your credit card in when you're ready to pay, and you just get charged for the documents you use, and that's it.
Okay. So, wow, that sounds like really interesting. So is it only, you said you're launching in other states soon, right? Is it right now, it's only California?
It's only California. We started with the pleading paper because that was, like I said, the biggest time suck, I guess, for lack of a better term, is in creating that Word document. So we started with California. Then we got friends in Texas, and I got friends in Florida that are like, hey, we want this here too. We want, the reason we're launching in Tennessee, kind of a random state, but friend of a friend is one of the biggest PI firms in the state. And they were like, we want this in Tennessee. What can we do to help get this in Tennessee? So they worked with us in giving us sample documents and making sure that we were Tennessee compliant, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why Tennessee's on the map, because we have a team there that wants to use it. And so we're looking forward to being in all 50 states. It just takes time.
And let me tell you this, like, I've connected with a lot of attorneys from everywhere. So like, if you ever see a personal injury attorney, somebody that does like the contingency fee, this might benefit, and you don't want to cold reach out to them. Like, if you want a warm introduction, like, let me know. Like, that's what I do here. I love to connect people and introduce people. So, I know you have your network, but if you see anybody on Lawyer Stories, let me know, man. I'd love to help you connect with them.
No, I would love that. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
We'll take
That's
good
what
care
we do.
of it.
So we, and hopefully soon we'll be able to do that on our website. I have some ideas coming down the pipe, but if you do see anybody like on the feed, like, for sure, just always reach out to me.
Okay.
That offer always stands. So that's would you say this is like a passion? Like, are you putting in like a lot of time to this, or like, I mean, because I kind of know how that could feel a little bit.
Yeah. Right. Like with Lawyer Stories, right? Obviously everybody's got a day job, right?
Yeah.
But there is a certain thing that comes with when you start every business that starts off, it's like an infant that needs time and attention to get it to the point where hopefully in 5 to 10 years, it can be self-sustaining and can keep growing kind of naturally. But with anything that you do, whether it's a law firm, podcast, tech company, those first couple of years are really, really crucial on getting it off the ground. So yeah, I definitely put in the hours, right? But I enjoy it. So then it's not as you do with lawyer stories. If you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't do it.
No, that's absolutely 100%. And one thing too, like, I could hear it in your voice, like you really care about EsquireTek, like you're really passionate about it. And I think like that in itself is a reason why people will definitely check it out and will move over to it and like see if it's something that they can utilize. And no, I think that's awesome, because I feel the same way. Like when somebody asks me about lawyer stories, like I could just start like rambling about like, the whole story behind it and everything. And so I kind of get it. I mean, it's a different thing, but
no, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So it's awesome. So congratulations to you for such a cool, like taking that step and doing something that's super cool.
Thanks, man. And it's one of those things where, you saw something missing in what's out there, right? Like nobody's telling these stories, and these stories are worth telling. And so you're doing it because you see what should be out there, and it's exactly the same thing, and obviously in a different way. But one thing that I see missing all the time is lawyers don't have, they give up too much time into doing these menial tasks. Right. Lawyers should be lawyering. That is arguing motions, talking with their clients, et cetera, not in copying and pasting, not in, hey, I need to make sure this objection goes in the right spot. A lot of that can be done with computers. And generally speaking, us as lawyers are definitely behind the 8 ball when it comes to being tech savvy or tech forward.
Yep.
But there are things out there, and there are things we can create that can make them simple to use and easy to generate documents that automate the tedious parts. You still got to be a lawyer. You still got to, put in your objections and know how to litigate. Nobody's going to litigate for you, but those menial tasks that take too long can be done by a computer. One of the things, just to jump in one more thing, is one of the things I think where lawyers fall a little short is in communication with their clients, right? I think the number one complaint to the state bar is my lawyer's not calling me back.
Right. Okay.
And the reason for that is we're all busy. We're all doing a million things, and we have a million other cases, and that happens. But the way humans communicate has changed, right? We communicate through social media. We communicate through text messages. That's how we all communicate with our friends. Nobody emails their friends and say, let's go to the beach this Saturday. That doesn't happen, right? But when we walk into a law office, all of a sudden we think phone calls and emails are the only way to communicate with our clients. Why? That's not how human beings communicate anymore.
Right.
So it's time to adapt and meet our clients where they are. Instead of forcing them to come to us, let's meet them where they are. Let's securely send them text messages so they can answer. Let's securely work with them so that we can have this communication back and forth where they don't feel like they've hired a lawyer and they've never talked to him.
Yeah.
Or her.
For sure. No, and that's 100%. You have to meet them where they're at. You have to grow with where everybody is today and how they're communicating. And I totally hear and feel the passion in your voice, Pratik. That's awesome, man. So like, what is the future for EsquireTek? I know you touched upon going into different states and expanding, but what would you say?
Yeah, I think we've just scratched the surface on the things that we can automate within a law firm. My wife gets annoyed with me because I'll be watching TV at night and it's 10 o'clock and I'll pause it and I'll say, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And she's like, can you stop for 10 minutes? Like, no, I can't stop for 10 minutes. Sorry. You know who you married, lady. This is it.
I know. I get it. Like I get it. That's awesome. We'll talk more offline about that. But this show's about you. I'd give you some specifics about I know what that's like, but that's great. That means you have a passion. You found it. I'm curious, what was your undergrad degree in? Like, what was your major?
It was actually in English literature.
Okay. All right. I guess I can't really connect it to the EsquireTek. I thought if it was like, I don't know, something with computers or whatever, like technology.
No, not. I'm telling you, I'm not. Like Dr. Slim is the computer guy, right? Like I've learned a lot from him on how this stuff works and what's capable and what isn't. So I'm very grateful to have him, very lucky to have him. And like I said, I've learned a lot from him, but I just kind of see it as a bigger picture of I hate to use the word failing on the part of us lawyers and law firms, but I guess that's the word, is a failure to really be efficient and adapt. And it comes back down to what we were talking about in the beginning when we're doing Zoom court hearing. Who would have ever thought if 3 years ago you said you're going to be doing a trial by Zoom, or you're going to be doing, depositions via Zoom, or everybody in your office is going to work remotely? Nobody would have ever thought that possible.
Right.
And we were pushed over the cliff of efficiency, right? Saying you have no choice. You have to adapt. So because of that push, I think it's kind of, everybody's kind of woken up a little bit in, hey, there is a better way. And why can't we do it the better way?
Oh, that's awesome. So if you had any advice, this is kind of off track, but if you had any advice for law students or people wanting to enter the law, what would it be?
Really think about why. Like, why is it important to you? What is it you want to achieve? And make sure you're not doing it for other people, right? Don't do it because it's going to make your parents happy, or they're going to get to brag to their friends that their son or daughter's a lawyer. Don't do it because you think you're going to make $1 million a year. You might not, but don't do it for those reasons. Do it because there's an intellectual curiosity that you have in saying, I like solving this puzzle, or I like, seeing the chessboard this way. And I really enjoy being in the courtroom, or I really enjoy researching and writing, or I really enjoy, talking with clients, or whatever it may be. Because at the end of the day, if you chase all that other stuff, that stuff just runs away from you, and you'll never get it. There's never enough money. There's never enough prestige. There's never enough pride. There's no
always
end to
want
that
more,
stuff.
Right?
There's always more. So if you find that niche, or you find that home for you, where you're like, I'm going to do this for 40 years and I'm happy to do this for 40 years, then there you go. It doesn't matter. The number, the other stuff doesn't really matter too much.
Right. Okay. So what did we leave out today about EsquireTek, about your job? Like, I mean, about your law firm, like, is there, did you want to touch on anything about that? I know we kind of went deep, like back to your, your youth. So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch upon.
I mean, you're great at this, man, because I think we covered really everything. It really is a passion project for me. Me too. And I really think that the world is changing, and we all have to be open to new ideas and what's out there. And it's hard for people to say that the way I've been doing it for the last 20 years is wrong, or that there's a better way. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 20 years. My favorite part about EsquireTek is when I see a paralegal who has been doing this for 40 years. I've had that. I've had a paralegal that's been doing this for 41 years. And she says, I'm normally anti anything new.
Right. Okay. All right. I was going to say, she comes up to you and gives you a hug.
Well, I'll take that too. But, she's like, I'm normally anti anything new because I've been doing this for 41 years. I know what I'm doing, but this is going to save me crazy amounts of time. And she's like, the only thing I can ask of you is, will you give me some training? Of course, we don't charge for any training or onboarding or anything like that. So absolutely. Awesome. And she's one of our hardcore users. And I love seeing that, because I know how anti new stuff my parents, who are older, and even now when my kids play with stuff that I'm just like, what are you messing around with that for? And I find myself becoming that person that's anti new technology or anti new things. It really tells me that we're helping people when they say, hey, I've been doing this a long time, and this is a game changer for me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And no, it definitely always, that definitely would feel good. So congrats on your venture, and, your law firm, and your story is awesome. We love featuring you, and, we definitely want to, if we could ever connect you with anybody that you see on the feed that might be somebody who brings it into another state or something, or we'd be happy to do that, because I've definitely run across a lot of lawyers. So
and kudos to you too. I mean, like I was telling you, this stuff's not easy. Everybody, I think everybody and their buddies talks about starting a podcast or starting an Instagram, and the hard part is doing it and
it's
maintaining
the execution. You listen to Gary Vee too, don't you?
Yeah, I do like Gary
Vee. What's that?
I do like Gary Vee.
I like Gary Vee. Yeah, it's all about talk about ideas,
right?
All the execution, And
it's the execution, and then it's the commitment and discipline to keep doing it, right?
Day after day, night after night.
Shooting that first episode or making that first post is one thing, and you get that adrenaline rush, but to be able to keep doing it month after month, like you said, day after day, night after night, that's discipline, and that's the difference.
Right. And I bet you get emails, like you'll get up in the middle of the night, maybe get a drink of water or something. You get an email about EsquireTek, and you're over there answering the email, right? And your wife's like, get back over here.
The best thing that ever happened to my team, at both at the law firm and at EsquireTek, is me learning how to use schedule send.
Because schedule what?
So on Gmail, you can schedule your emails to go out at a certain time.
Okay.
So when that happens, when I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I start working on something, I can just schedule all these emails to go out at 8 in the morning.
No. See, I think you're missing it though. If you want an email to go out at like 3 in the morning to an associate, just to be like, like I'm working this late. Like this is what.
Yeah. Where are you?
Yeah. You should be up this late.
See, I think that's the old school lawyer mentality right there, right? Now what happens is they get 15 emails at 8 a.m. because they all come in.
Okay.
Like what happened?
Right.
Why are these all here?
Yeah, no, I mean, people keep their phone on silent, but generally it's like, I'm going to show this person I was working at 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Maybe I do that for opposing counsel, right?
There you go.
Okay. You can't outwork
Friday. That's the Friday at 5 o'clock trick, but okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the Lawyer Stories community today?
No, man, I think that's everything. I think that, I think lawyers in general, whether it's my project or somebody else's tech company or whatever it may be, I think they should be taking time out of their month to see what's out there on how they can better serve their clients, how they can efficiently run their practices. And you can have a life in running a law firm and having a personal life because the tools are out there, but no one's going to come and hand them to you on a silver platter. You got to go find them.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just to leave everybody with one thing, I would say just encourage all the attorneys out there that are struggling to find that balance if they want it, or struggling to scale if that's what they want, to take that effort in finding the tech companies out there that can help you.
That's great. And so how can everybody get a hold of you?
Yeah. So, we're EsquireTek on all social media, Twitter, Instagram. I don't think we have a TikTok yet. No, we definitely don't. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we're at EsquireTek everywhere. You can, EsquireTek.com. That's EsquireTek.com. You can email me. You can call me. I'm around. I'll have my own Instagram is at the closer _ESQ. So,
nice. I'll go find that if I don't follow it yet. We'll find it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, hey, it was a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. And yeah, you got it. Stay right there. Pratik Shah, everyone. Co-founder of Shah and Digidio and CEO of EsquireTek. Go check it out. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.